Alright, so for this one, we're going to go ahead and start out with editing my model here, I guess. This is actually a client. Start by cropping him. And then we will hit enter. I kind of want to crop right here out, but fuck it. Then let's do this. Bring the whites up a bit, the highlights down because I don't want to blow that. It's okay if we blow that out. You're really not going to get any detail off of that flute right there. You see where all that red is? That's the highlight clipping. And then bring the exposure down a bit because right here, his face is full. Bring it down a quarter stop. A little too hot for me. Spray it down a little more. Leave it there. And let's zoom in. We're going to start some of the skin retouching. Like little dots and stuff. This is good for. Yeah, perfect. Little freckles and shit. Let's move that over here. This weird red shit on his face. I feel so cynical. It's part of my job to get rid of all these imperfections and shit. You know. His teeth look fucking horrible. Alright, enough of that. And we'll bump the contrast a bit. Yeah, that looks good. Zoom out. We don't need to look at his face. Although for his age, I must say he does have decent skin. Just a little bit of foundation could have cleared up everything and would have evened his skin tone out, but he didn't want to put any on. Yeah, I like that. That looks nice. And clarity will make 10. Yeah, I like 10. Dehaze will do 5. Vibrance, bring you up to 10. Saturation will do 5. Make that 3. Yeah, there you go. Too much red. But you know what? We'll take the adjustment brush. We'll set you to like minus 0.25. And we'll just go ahead and bring that down. Bring that down a bit. And you know what? We'll set it like that. Slow motion for me. Let's bring the highlight down too, because I want some detail in those buttons. You know what? 0.5. Half a stop. There we go. That looks good. I fuck with it. Quote unquote. And that's pretty much it for raw adjustments. We'll go ahead and right click you, edit. Now this is important. You always want to open it up as a smart object. It'll take up more resources on your computer, but for non-destructive editing purposes, it will save you so much. So now we're in Photoshop. Correction. Now we're waiting for my computer to load this humongous ass file into Photoshop. I'm shooting on a Nikon D800 and the megapixel, I think it's like 28, just huge. I actually shot this photo in my basement with my light kit, which is a Profoto light kit. Highly recommend them. So let's zoom in on his face. Actually, it doesn't matter, because the first thing we'll do is we'll start with Liquify tool. Then we'll zoom in at 100. First thing we'll do is we'll address his little blubber right there. So I'm also using a Wacom tablet. You okay, computer? I'm using a Wacom tablet just because it seems to help. So we kind of just smush them. And you can always, if you don't like it, you can always hit restore all. 'Cause I didn't really like that a lot. So for that little curve right there, that I'm not particularly fond of. Take the smooth tool. Yeah, there you go. Now we'll go ahead and make the brush big. Oh shit. Need to go back to you. Okay. Nope, not that big. That's too big. There you go. Just want to keep it even, but you see how it just like straightened up his face and slimmed him down a little bit just by doing that little bit. That helps. Okay. If we wanted to be funny, we could go like that. Oh! Okay, just kidding. Alright, we'll hit OK. So that slimmed his face up a little bit, not a whole lot. We'll do another liquify. I like to do different liquefies to separate, different things. Like I just touched up his face right there real quick. And then I'm going to move into his eyes, because look at his eyes. They look so tiny. He looks like he just smoked an ounce of grass right now, and he needs to not look like he smoked an ounce of grass. So we're going to go ahead and open those eyes up a little bit. So we'll zoom back into 100. Hold space to move up. And zoom in a little more. I know you gotta get real close and personal with your clients sometimes. It's weird, I know, but gotta do what you gotta do. Just kind of open his eyes up a bit. He's got really long eyelashes, so this is going to be a lot of trial and error. I don't know why they show up longer over here and they're like short over there. And also, while I'm making some of these comments, not everybody's perfect, and I don't expect everybody to be perfect. It's not a judgment call when I say things about somebody's body, but part of my job is to quote unquote fix the imperfections. He also told me he wanted to lose 40 pounds. I don't know if that's possible with the photo. I mean, if he hit the gym too, but again, no offense meant. Just trying to be real. So we open his eyes up a little bit. You want to keep him, curved and natural looking. Sometimes you gotta go like that. There you go. Bring it down a little bit. All right, that looks pretty good. They're about the same. And they're much more open. Oh, look at that. All right, so before, after. Before, after. Oh, I'm smiling at you now. Okay. Alright, now next thing I'll do is we'll start with zooming in on his face, of course. We'll start with addressing some of these wrinkles and stuff. God knows what else on his face. So I like to use my healing brush. And make sure you have, I do all my healing adjustments on a separate layer. So I don't, edit the actual smart object. Um, so when you do that, make sure for sample you have current and below selected. And then you just alt, hold, and then I dab. I don't like drag and hold because then the cursor follows and you never know what you're going to get. Let's do a little bit of that, erase some of his wrinkles. Try to make him look like he's 30 again, I guess. I really like this tool because it takes the texture that you select and it blends it with the brightness and contrast and everything of where you select it. So we'll do the same here. And I do this here for a specific reason. I do this type of retouching right here for a specific reason, and it'll make sense to you soon in the next step. Get rid of some of these crow's feet. Try to at least. Zoom in a little more and get rid of this wrinkle on his eye. But eventually everything will get blurred and you won't, his entire skin will get blurred. And you won't even notice these weird little patterns right here from his acne-ish. Oh, God. I'll have to go over that with a smaller brush, but we'll just get the basics. Yeah, it's time to make that shit smaller. See. There you go. Alright, that's looking a lot better. So, his eyes still kind of look a little funky, but that's fine. His skin looks... it could use some work. Let's go down to his hands. Get rid of some of the moles. For those of you that remember that from Austin Powers. Okay. And... what I'm actually really happy with in this is with the D800, the Nikon D800, there's usually will pick up artifacts or create artifacts on really tight patterns like this. And Lightroom just seems to completely fix those automatically. I used to have to go in with the adjustment brush and use the moire pattern filter to get rid of the moire pattern. And as you can see, there's virtually none, and it's brilliant. Thank you. Good job, Adobe. Okay, so his eyes still look kind of a little funky because of how I did the, you can see the texture and stuff. But here, let's do a before and after. Ugh. 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 Okay, I'm done. All right, moving along. Oh, well, let's get rid of some of this right here. Not use his hand. It's all gonna get blurred, anyways. But let's try to get rid of some of these wrinkles. touch up some of these other spots. Any other scars and things like that that might be upon them. What else? What else can I do to make you... Let's fix that. Okay. Okay, file save as. This is the other stuff that I'm working on for him. You know, we could probably get rid of that weird ass hair sticking out on his unibrow. Yeah, that works. You know what, let's just go ahead and erase that subtle little wrinkle too. It'll make all the difference in the final process. I like how it... Maybe we'll go back into Liquify and fix that up. Maybe I'm not sold on it. We could get rid of this wrinkle right here. Yeah, let's try it. So that'll really like kill his chin definition. It'll just make his chin look like nothing but neck just going into his face. Let's leave it alone. Although we can try... Let's get rid of this wrinkle right here. Yeah. As opposed to just being a really harsh crease in his face, it's more subtle. Makes him look a little younger. I'll go ahead and do that. And now we're trying to get rid of the wrinkle, not add to it. Or make it a different color. Okay. And we'll fix that as well. I wonder if the pucker tool would work on that. I'm not sure. We'll try it later. Alright, save it. And then we're going to select both these layers. And we're going to wait for it to finish saving. Meantime, I'll check Facebook on my phone. Wow, it's only at 83. Okay, now that it's done saving, we right click, convert everything to smart object. Then we wait another like 3 million years, just kidding. And now what we'll do is filter, blur, we'll apply a surface blur. Now the surface blur can take up a lot of CPU to render. I know it does on my PC, and it did on my MacBook Pro. It's a little better now that I got a new graphics card, but it'll take some time to render. Okay. Now that we got it rendered, we'll hit OK. And it'll fully render now. And then we click on the mask and hit Control I to invert the color of the mask. And this is where I like to use my Wacom tablet. It's a Wacom in 205. And then I hit B for the brush tool. And we'll bring it down to about 50%. So I'll just type it in. We'll start with his face. I'll just kind of paint in the effect with the Wacom tablet. And the reason why I do 50% is because I don't necessarily want to completely apply the same amount of blurriness to his entire face. You know, some parts I want to be subtler, and then like right here where his faux mustaches or the grain is really thick on his face, I'll do a more harsher blur or more obvious blur to just blur all that out. Same thing here. Get rid of all his pores and everything. Also blur out that little texture that's on his eyes a lot. Zoom in. So I'll go and paint all this effect in. And the cool thing is if you do too much, you can just toggle between white and black right here. And, you'll be able to apply more or less of the effect when you paint. So it'll blur out, make his eye look a little less bruised. In fact, you know what? I think I'll do I'll change the layer for that. Or you'll see what I'll do to fix the discoloration on his eye. And his neck, I need to address that. Oh, let's get this right here too. And you just paint away. Paint, paint, paint. Applying the effect. The amount of blurriness you want. Then we'll move down to his hands. This we won't have to apply too much of the effect, because his hands aren't actually as bad as other places. And what I really like about the Wacom tablet is it's pressure sensitive. So you see how big the brush is. It's not actually applying the effect to that full diameter. It if I press harder, it'll get closer to the diameter, but it won't ever come close to that diameter at all. So I kind of tend to make my brush size a little bigger than I actually need it to be, because I know it won't come close. And it does take a little bit of practice to use the Wacom tablet, but I don't know, for me it just kind of came natural to use this thing, especially with painting in some of these effects that I'm doing, like especially the surface blur. I'm not really liberally applying this effect to his hands, because now he looks a whole lot softer, almost a little too soft. So what we're going to do with that to fix that is we'll go ahead and we'll fix the discoloration, that little bit of gray on his eye first. So it kind of looks bruised. In fact, let's go back to that. Okay. Let's try this. I'll try hue saturation. I'll click that. And then that didn't work. Let's do this. Let's go back to hue saturation. And then do that. And then we'll kind of color in, not color, but fill in right here along the discolored spot. Okay, cool, perfect. And we'll Play with the color a little bit. You know what? We don't need to do it with hue saturation. Let's try this. Let's do exposure. We'll do that. Just brighten it up a bit. And then Command I. Yeah, I like that a lot. That blends it in a lot nicer. Perfect. I like that a lot better. That's awesome. Okay. We'll save it. We'll wait another like million years. Oops. Next thing we'll do is we'll address his teeth right here. And the way we'll do it is alright, now we're going to work on his teeth. So what we'll do is we'll create a new hue saturation, and we'll just desaturate the entire image. And then we'll go to the masks, Control I to invert the mask. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to paint in just the teeth, except instead of doing it at a 50% opacity, we'll do 100. And then we'll slowly, carefully, because we don't want to hit his lip, just desaturate his entire his biters. Get rid of all the yellow in his biters and make it just gray. We're gonna have to go over and paint his lip back with white. So I'm obviously touching some of it, which is cool for now. Okay. Let's go back over. I switched to black so that way we can kind of get rid of. Yeah, I like that. Touch up his lip a little bit. Get rid of some of the mess that got onto his lip. So we don't want his lip to be desaturated, obviously. And now that it's desaturated, we'll go ahead and we'll do the same thing. We'll take exposure and we'll hold down the Alt key, and then drag this mask over to this. Yes, we want to replace the layer mask. And then we'll go ahead and we'll zoom to 100%, and then we'll click the properties for exposure. We'll bump exposure up, and that'll whiten his teeth. Bring it up about a stop. That's how exposure is calculated, is in stops. Okay, so that's how you whiten his teeth. Zoom all the way out. That's not bad. Control S for saving. Alright, so his skin still looks kind of too soft, too babyish. And we'll address that. Alright, so we have his face. And we'll create a new layer. And alright, so now that we have it saved, or we had it saved, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and his skin looks too soft. It's too soft. It doesn't look realistic, in my opinion. So what we'll do is we'll create a faux texture, a fake skin texture to make his skin look a little more realistic. And the way we'll do that is we'll create a new layer. We'll go to Edit, Fill, and you want to select 50% gray. And hit Enter or OK. Then you go to Filter, Noise, Add Speckle. And you want to do Uniform, and I'm doing about 20%. Because it's a man. If you're doing a woman, you'd probably want to do like 10%. I might bump it up a little bit to like 23. Let's do that. And you want monochromatic checked. You don't want to do color. You want monochromatic because it's basically just black and white and different values of gray, um, noise. Click OK. Then filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. About three pixels is good. Click OK. And then you go filter, stylize, and boss. And you want to do 45-degree angle, height 6, amount 60. And you click OK. And then you change your blending mode to overlay. Now, that's applying it to the whole image. We obviously don't want to do that, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a layer mask. And then we're going to Control or Command I to invert the mask. And then guess what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, you guessed it. We're going to use the Wacom tablet to paint in the effect. So I'll make my brush bigger. We'll go ahead and we'll start painting in. So I just want it on his face. Oh, helps if I'm painting in white. I was like, why is it not showing up? See, there you go. Now you're getting that little bit of a texture coming in. You're getting that little bit of skin tone, skin texture coming back in. And it doesn't look like bad skin texture either. It looks more natural and more clean and uniform as well. But it looks natural too, which is good. It's not a lot of random poriness. So let's zoom in a little bit on his face. around the eyes. Yeah, see? It creates a little bit of bumpiness and texture to him. Gives it some character. Some character. We can fix some of this red right here too. We'll do that in a layer below the skin texture. The faux texture that we're painting in. Right, let's go back to that. And also, if it doesn't look as apparent as you want it, you know, I like to duplicate it. If I can find duplicate, right there, duplicate layer, click OK, bam. But that's too much, so let's bring it down to, what, 45? Still too much. Let's try 20. That works. I'm going to turn it off. I just wanted to do that to show you because I think this is enough because when I finish it, once we finish the image, the skin texture will come through a lot more than you see it right now. The next thing I'll do is I like to play with, oh yeah, let's go ahead and address these red spots and shit. Right here, let's go ahead and get, what's this? Is this the retouching? Is there anything on that? Okay, alright, we'll just go ahead and get the heel brush tool and go like that. Click that. Get rid of some of these weird red spots. I'm just using the mouse for this, and you don't even have to. Okay, that works. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's much better. There we go. I like that. Control S to save, obviously. Oh, you know what we forgot? His button is broken right here. I knew there was something I was forgetting. We'll go ahead and fix that too. His button's all jacked up. I forgot about that. So we'll wait for it to finish saving. Alright, so we need to address this button right here. And what we'll do, this button looks pretty bad. What we'll do is we'll go back to the healing brush, Command J over the texture that is his suit jacket, and click. Let's go to eraser, just erase it. Let's try the clone brush. Too obvious. Damn. It's not too bad, except I'll bring the hardness down. I don't like it that hard. Yeah, that'll have to do. Let's see what it looks like. Nah, I don't like it. Man, I wish he didn't have a busted button. Let's try the healing brush again. Yeah, take out all the buttons. I don't like any of that. I don't know. Let's just leave it. You don't really notice it too much, anyways. We could just try to. Let's try and cover up the. That looks better than leaving it alone. I don't know. I still don't like it. We'll just leave it alone. Okay, so we got the skin texture down. We got his teeth whitened. We got his skin softened. Oh, one other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to apply the skin texture to his hands as well, because hands tend to be kind of grittier anyways. So go back to brush, make sure we're on 100%. Blow up the brush size. Quite a decent amount. Get his hands nice and gritty. Am I still saving? Jesus. Now it's resaving all the stuff that I just did. Alright, good. Now that everything's saved, we're ready to sharpen. So we'll zoom back out. Convert everything to a smart object. Now that everything's converted to a smart object, go ahead, zoom in on him 100%. I want to keep part of the frame on this texture of his jacket right here, and then on his face. Because I want to keep his I want to keep the focus on his jacket and his face because those are the two pretty much the sharpest parts of the image. And we're gonna go with how those look because those will get these spots will be the first to get distorted. The more I apply the effects. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll go to filter, other, high pass, and 12.5 pixels will do fine. Maybe bring it down to 10. And we'll click OK. And then we'll go into the blending mode options. And we'll change the blending mode for the filter to overlay. And we don't want the texture to be, the effect to be so obvious. So I usually like to put it at 45%. That does a nice job of sharpening the textures. And that's also why I didn't use that other skin texture layer because as you can see that really brought in the faux skin texture that I applied to his face. So the next part of my sharpening is I go to filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. And we could probably bring it up a pixel, or a tenth of a pixel. Yeah. 1.1. I like 1.1 a lot. That works well. You can really see the texture. And you want to go around your picture, make sure there's no haloing or anything. In fact, we could bring it up to, let's do 1.2. Okay, let's bring it back down to 1.1. I don't like the edge of his face on his right, our left cheek. Click OK. And that's it. Control S one more time to save it. And that's how I basically go about editing a portrait. Thank you for watching.